In the last 3 weeks, I've had 3 different IT people tell me the same thing. 3 separate conversations, 3 different organizations, an IT director leading a team, an IT manager, and a guy who runs his own small IT shop while also working for a school district. All 3 of them told me they're looking to trim cybersecurity to save money to pay for AI. And here's the part that should stop you cold. None of them came up with that idea on their own. Every one of them was told by upper management, by the executives to go find places to cut costs. And when leadership says find savings, often cybersecurity ends up on the chopping block because it is a line item that does not produce revenue. And if you've not been hit yet, it feels like money spent on nothing. I want to be very clear about something today. Cutting your cybersecurity right now at this exact moment in history is one of the most dangerous decisions a business can make. Because here is what's happening at the same time. AI is exploding inside your business. Your team is adopting it. Your competitors are also adopting it. The capability is accelerating every single month. And AI is not just making your team more productive, it's making attackers far more dangerous, far faster, and far more automated than they've ever been. So think about it this way. AI is the gas pedal, makes everything go faster when deployed properly. Cybersecurity is the brake system, and you do not get to slam the gas while you rip out the brakes. That's not a cost-saving strategy. It's a crash waiting to happen. Now let's get into it. Let me explain why this keeps happening, because it's not that these IT people are bad at their jobs. They're responding to pressure from above. Executives look at the budget. They see a cybersecurity line item, monitoring, endpoint protection, dark web scanning, insurance, managed detection and response. They ask the question every cost-conscious leader asks. We've not been breached. What are we actually paying for here? Can we trim this? It definitely feels logical. If you've never had a fire, paying for fire insurance every year feels like a waste until the day that there's a fire. And the thinking gets even more dangerous when IT tries to solve it cheaply. The reasoning goes like this. If we just harden the network, lock down the firewall, choose a few solid solutions, we will be protected and we can cut the rest. Here's the problem with that logic. Hardening the network inside your office does almost nothing for your remote workforce. And in 2026, how much of your team is remote, hybrid, or working from a personal device at some point during the week? Hardening the office does not protect any of them. And even for the people sitting inside your office behind your hardened firewall on your locked down devices, modern attacks completely bypass all of it. Because the best attacks do not break through the firewall. They walk right around it through your people, through social engineering, through a single click, through a credential that was leaked somewhere you never even thought about. Hardening is not nothing, but hardening alone is a false sense of security, and cutting everything else to pay for it is how businesses get destroyed. Now, let me tell you about a client we won last year, and the only reason we won them is because they learned this lesson the hard way. Before they came to us, this company did everything right on paper. They had just gone through a full cybersecurity review. They had hardened their entire server stack. They had hardened the firewall systems. They even invested real money in locking down the infrastructure. By every checklist, they were secure. 3 months later, they got hit. Not through the firewall, not through the server stack, through an employee. An employee received an email with a link. They clicked it. And here's the part that still gets me. The security software actually flagged it. It put up a warning that said, this is a known malicious website. But the employee, for whatever reason, maybe they were in a hurry, did not read the warning. They proceeded anyway. They landed on a phishing page that looked legitimate and they typed their credentials in. That's all it took. The attacker now had valid login. They logged in as that user, then elevated privileges. They turned that user into a power user. Then they created an admin status. Once they had admin, they got into the entire system, encrypted all the files, ransomwared the entire company. A full hardening environment taken down by one click. Now here's the good news. We came in within 48 hours, we helped them remediate and dramatically reduce the damage. They survived, but they survived because they finally bought in a real layered security partner, not because their hardening saved them. Their hardening absolutely did not save them. Their hardening was bypassed completely. That's the lesson. Hardening protects one layer, but security is not one layer, and the attackers know exactly which layer you forgot. Now here's where it gets worse, and this is the part that ties directly into everything we've been talking about on this show for the last month or longer. AI has fundamentally changed the economics of attacking your business. Here's how it used to work. An attacker had to do the work manually. They had to find targets, they had to write the phishing scripts, and they had to send emails. They had to test stolen credentials one at a time. It took effort. It took time. And that effort was natural limit on how many businesses they could go after. Today, that limit's gone. Every time a new set of credentials shows up, the agent grabs them, tries them against the business's systems. And if they do not work immediately, it drops that person into an automated social engineering email sequence, and it keeps working them until somebody clicks the bad link and does exactly what the attacker needs. No human effort. Thousands of businesses within seconds, round the clock. That's the new reality. The attacker built one machine, and now the machine hunts for them. And more advanced AI models become available. This only accelerates. The most capable models on Earth are now so powerful that some of them are being held back from the public specifically because of the cybersecurity concerns. Think about that. The capability is so significant that the companies building are restricted access out of caution. Meanwhile, the tools attackers can already get their hands on are already getting better every single month. The gap between how fast attackers can move and how fast businesses can defend, it's widening. And the businesses that cut their security right now are the ones standing while the threat accelerates. Now, let me hit that misconception that costs businesses the most. Most people believe that if their credentials end up on the dark web, it is because they did something wrong. They clicked something. They used a weak password. They put their information somewhere they shouldn't have. That's not how it works. And this is the biggest misconception out there. It very often has nothing to do with anything you did. People will find your information whether you were careful or not. Here is how. Think about every third-party service your employees log into using their work email. LinkedIn, Netflix, some software tool, some online vendor, some app they signed up for 2 years ago and forgot about. Now what happens when one of those companies gets breached? And major companies get breached constantly. When LinkedIn has a breach, when a third-party platform your employees use for work email to get signed up and gets hit, that username, that password are now out on the dark web within minutes. And if that employee used that same password for any random app that they use to log into your network, your domain is now exposed. The attacker did not have to touch your business at all. They just bought the credentials that leaked from somewhere else. And it gets worse. Attackers use scraping tools that pull information together from all over the internet. You do not have to be hacked. You do not have to make a mistake. Your information gets assembled and sold whether you know about it or not. And here's who gets targeted the most: CEOs and executives. The people with the most access, the most authority, and the most valuable credentials. The exact people who often assume they are too careful to be exposed. So let me ask you, do you have a dark web scan? Do you know exactly what credentials tied to your business are already on the dark web and being bought and sold right now? Most businesses have no idea. And what you do not know is exactly what the attackers are counting on. Here's the last piece of the threat picture, and is the one that should make every leader take this seriously. Getting hit once does not make you safer. It makes you a bigger target. The research is brutal on this. Roughly 8 in 10 organizations that get hit and pay a ransom, they often get hit again, often by the very same attacker, because once they know you're willing to pay, they know that you have a weakness. You go into a list of proven profitable targets, and you stay on that list. And it's not just big companies. Small and mid-sized businesses are now the number one target. In 2025, ransomware was involved in 88% of all breaches affecting small and mid-sized businesses, compared to just 39% for large corporations. Now let that sink in. The smaller you are, the more likely you are to be a target, because attackers know small businesses have weaker defenses, fewer resources, and are more likely to have cut exactly the protection they need to get in. So when an executive says, let's trim cybersecurity to save money, what they're really saying is, let's make ourselves the easiest target in our market at the exact moment attackers have automated the hunt. That's not a savings. That's an invitation. Now let's bring this home, because there's a second front in this fight that almost all businesses are completely ignoring. It's not just attackers using AI against you from the outside, it's the AI inside your own team using it. Think about what happens when an employee just trying to do their job faster grabs the wrong Excel spreadsheet, the one with client data, financials, or pricing that pastes it into a public AI tool that has no governance, no guardrails, and no protection. That data just left your building. And most of the consumer AI platforms your team is using on their own do not have proper governance. They were never built to protect businesses. So now you have two problems at the exact same time. Attackers using AI to get in, and your own team accidentally leaking data through unsecured AI tools. This is why securing your AI is not separate from cybersecurity. It's a part of it. And here's the other trap. A lot of businesses think that the answer is to just pick one AI platform and lock everybody into it. But if your team is larger than about 20 people, that does not work, because not everyone needs the same model. Each of the major models is good at different things. One is better for writing and reasoning. One is better for research. One is better for working inside your existing tools. If you force your whole team into one model, you slow them down compared to the competitor who lets their team use the right model for each task. Trying to use one AI tool to solve every problem is a competitive disadvantage. Your team needs secure access to multiple models with governance so they can use the best one for each job without ever putting your data at risk. That is exactly why we built Fortify AI. It gives your team secure, lockdown access to every major model in an environment where your data is isolated and protected. So if an employee grabs the wrong spreadsheet, the guardrails are already in place. Your team gets the power of every model, and you get the governance that keeps it all secure. You secure the gas pedal, and you keep the brake system. That's how you win this. So here's where we land. AI is accelerating everything: your productivity, your competition, and the attackers coming after you. This is the worst possible moment in history to cut cybersecurity. AI is the gas pedal. Cybersecurity is the brake system. And the businesses that try to go faster while ripping out their brakes are the ones that end up as the headline. The companies that survive and win are the ones that do both. They deploy AI securely with governance, and they strengthen their security instead of gutting it, because they understand that the threat is accelerating, not slowing down. And here's what I want you to do. And this one is easy. We will run a free dark web scan for your organization. If you have 15 or more full-time employees, set up a meeting with us, and we will show you exactly what's already out there, what credentials tied to your business, your executives, and your team that are already sitting on the dark web being bought and sold right now. And remember, if we find something, it doesn't mean you did anything wrong. It almost never does. It means someone found your information the way they find everyone's. The difference is that now you know, and you can do something about it instead of waiting to become the next 48-hour emergency. To set up your free dark web scan, the booking link is in our show notes and on my LinkedIn. The website is i-NETT.com, i-NETT.com, and you can see our secure AI platform at i-NETT.ai, i-NETT.ai. The only question is whether we are having this conversation with you now or after you've already been hit. This has been The Digital Dilemma. I am Nick Dreyfus, Vice President of Business Development for i-NETT. Until next time.